House Leader of the Official Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, for over a year, we've been warning that taxpayer-funded so-called safe supply drugs are being diverted and trafficked by organized crime in communities across British Columbia. In fact, it's so widespread in the city of Vancouver that police there report that half of the hydromorphone pills they seize are from this dangerous so-called safe supply, being diverted straight to street-level drug dealers. So my question to the Premier is this: when will the Premier adopt BC United's policy of ending his decrim deception and ending his disastrous policies of decriminalization and of taxpayer-funded so-called safe supply drugs?
Minister of Mental Health.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I'm not entirely sure which policy the member across the way is referring to, because they do tend to change from time to time. But I will say this. Again, we work very closely with law enforcement. Our law enforcement partners stood with us at the beginning, have been with us, frankly, all the way through, from the original declaration in 2016 of the public health emergency, all the way through. And, you know, what they say time and time again, and what they said at the Federal Health Standing Committee, was that their primary concern is around the production and distribution of counterfeit Dilaudid. That is a real concern for them.
Member.
The production and distribution by organized crime, by predatory individuals and organizations that prey on vulnerable people in our communities, that is their primary concern. The issue of counterfeit drugs that are made to look like pharmaceuticals, like real prescription medications. And so we'll continue to take our cue from the people on the ground, the people that we are working with, the law enforcement organizations, the public health organizations, our healthcare providers, with respect to the advice they give about how we deal with these issues. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Supplemental member.
Well, Mr. Speaker, perhaps the minister should go and actually read the police testimony that was made at this Federal Standing Committee that she just cited, because they actually were very, very clear that they were talking about counterfeit pharmaceuticals, not Dilaudid. Exactly. Now, under this Premier, taxpayer-funded drugs are consistently reaching drug dealers, and they're flooding our communities and even making their way into our schools. Yet every single time that we have raised these questions, these serious concerns, the Premier again and again denied that there was even a problem. The Solicitor General would bluster and make excuses. The reality is this: the NDP taxpayer-funded so-called safe supply drugs are trafficked to our kids by organized crime, and they're fueling the death and the destruction that we see rampant in our communities across British Columbia. So how much longer do communities need to suffer before this Premier adopts BC United's policy by ending his decrim deception and ending his disastrous policy of taxpayer-funded so-called safe supply drugs?
Minister.
Well, I mean, Honourable Speaker, the member's simply wrong. I mean, of course we take issues related to diversion of pharmaceutical medications seriously. Of course we do. Of course the doctors who prescribe those medications take that issue very seriously. Of course public health takes that issue very seriously. It's absurd to suggest that we don't in the context of this public health emergency. We have to be serious about this issue. We have to be serious about this, and in fact our health authorities, our health providers are very serious about this issue. They are on alert. They are watching for those issues. We are putting in place mechanisms to make sure that we're monitoring and appropriately addressing with incidents related to diversion where people are misusing their prescribed medications. But let's be clear here about what is killing British Columbians. What is killing British Columbians is a toxic drug supply that has outrageous amounts of fentanyl and other terrible contaminants that are creating terrible health conditions for people. That's what's killing British Columbians, Honourable Speaker, and these are all the issues that we need to continue to work with all of our partners, as we have been doing and as we will continue to do.